Hey, welcome back, everybody. We've got a task ahead of us here. We're going to try and see if we can simplify health. That's the show, Health Simplified, a simple guide to a healthier life, with our expert, Dr. Justin Fesler from Fyzical Therapy and Balance Centers in Lake Forest. And today we got something special to talk about. We got a new breakthrough that we're going to discuss here. Let me see if I can set it up for everybody here today here. When you really break down complex health topics and bring tools to live better, move better, feel better, one thing is coming up. We're talking about something new that's turning heads in the world of rehab, performance, and recovery. It's a device called the NEUBIE, and it's not your average piece of electrical stimulation equipment. It's helping people recover faster, reduce pain, and unlock strength and movement they didn't know they had. Sound like science fiction? Well, stick with us, because by the end of the episode, you'll understand how it works from the man who's going to explain it to us all, Dr. Fesler. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
It does sound like science fiction to me. I'm not sure I really can believe all that claim here. Move better, feel better, unlock strength that I didn't know I had.
It does sound too good to be true, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does, yeah.
Well, I've introduced this device into my practice lately over the past 6 months and gotten to know it pretty well now. And so I thought I'd bring it out to the public and kind of explain what it is, how it works, and why they might want to know about it.
Can't think of any reason they wouldn't want to know about it.
Yeah. So
that's what we're all looking for. I don't know if it's the holy grail or the quick cure, but it's more than that. It's a way to do more, because full disclosure, I've suffered pain, my wife suffered pain, and when you get older, it's just, I guess that's what we just think we have to deal with. We think there is no answer.
Right, yeah. And so these devices, new technologies like this, are helping physical therapists like me get better results with our patients. And that's the key, is using this technology in a way that helps to facilitate and drive better outcomes.
All right, tell us more.
All right, so I'm going to use this like a white paper from NEUBIE that talks about everything about it. I kind of simplified it so we don't have to go through the...
Just try and draw a picture for me, a visual image. You don't have one in front of me. Is it a big machine, a little machine? What does it look like?
It's about maybe 18 inches by 14 inches. It's got electrodes, leads that come out of it that we apply electrodes to the body with. So it's applying electrical current to your body. So it's something that you can apply to the body and actually do movement patterns with, stretches, strengthening, all kinds of
So it does what? Fires the muscles or gets them to contract or expand?
Yeah, so I'll get to that.
Yeah.
So we'll go through exactly how it works. But it's not your typical electric stimulation.
Okay.
I'll explain why.
Okay.
So I'll start with a quote from Garrett Salpeter, who is the developer of NEUBIE. He was the one who created it. And he says, most of our physical limitations are self-imposed. Wow. And so if we go back a couple episodes, I talked about pain sciences. I'm not going to go deep into pain science today, but I will say that if you go back and listen to that episode, it'll help to kind of layer some information, a basis of knowledge that would help understand a lot of what we're going through today.
Especially where pain comes from. That's what you talked about.
Right, exactly. So what does that mean? So basically, when we look at pain, it's an output of the brain, right? And so what happens when you have pain is there's also an inhibition on top of the pain level. There's an inhibition of the muscle function as well. So our body basically puts up guardrails around certain areas of dysfunction. So if you have back pain or knee pain, you might say that it's like putting out a bunch of orange cones around those areas, and it's like, oh, don't do that, it's going to hurt you. And so even, subconsciously, even if you think like, oh, I'm trying to work through this as well as I can, you can have, from injuries long ago, an overlying inhibition of your body to be able to move, and your strength is diminished, and you have more pain in those areas, even years later. So basically what we're trying to do with the NEUBIE is to kind of recalibrate your system by using that device on your body. So what makes the NEUBIE different from other like TENS machines or electrical stimulation that you might see? First of all, the other devices that I was talking about are AC current. And the reason that's important is because AC current can make your muscles seize up or twitch, and so it's difficult.
That's what I'd heard. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So those muscles and those the muscular contractions you're going to feel are actually going to upregulate your sympathetic nervous system. We had talked about a few episodes ago also about heart rate variability.
Right.
Remember, that was the parasympathetic nervous system that's in charge of creating a good or increased heart rate variability, which is a sign that you're relaxed and you have less stress, your blood pressure goes down, all that stuff. So these AC currents actually increase the sympathetic nervous system, which is not what we want for healing. It's going to put up more guards, if anything. So the important part about the NEUBIE is that it actually uses DC current. So it's direct current. Historically,
and that makes a difference somehow.
It does, yeah. So our bodies, the electrical currents in our bodies and our nervous system are more closely aligned with DC current than they are AC current.
Makes sense. Not an alternating current, right?
Correct. So, so basically there's a pulsed kind of gentle current in your body, and your body responds positively to those kinds of currents. So you're not going to freeze up or have an issue moving. For instance, if you put it on your bicep, you wouldn't have an issue moving your arm through that intense current. When you have the AC current on, it'd be hard for you to straighten your elbow as you did that, so you can't do functional movements with it on. The great part about the NEUBIE is when you put it on, you can actually go through normal movement patterns that you do. So basically, what that's going to do is help to gate the information. Say we're getting information from our knee that goes to our brain. The NEUBIE is going to increase those signals, but allow our brain to learn to move through that increased signals that are going to our brain. So it works on the afferent nerves, which are going to the brain, which the other kinds of devices do not do. So, and then on the other side, you're going to get stimulation of some of the muscles, which is also a good thing.
Talk about that for 1 second.
Yeah.
Because we have a guy, we're at UCI's Applied Innovation Center, a guy who's very well known, Howard Leonhardt, has done lots of work here, research on electrobiostimulation. And for people use it for exercise. If you can't go out and exercise, you can sort of stimulate your muscles and supposedly simulate or stimulate some of the stuff here.
Right.
He's really doing it for longevity.
Right.
Because it stimulates proteins and other sorts of things that he thinks are critical for development. It seems so frightening to me.
Yeah.
Stimulating your body.
Right.
It sounds like Frankenstein here.
Yeah, well, I mean, potentially, you know, if you look back at the old types of DC current, it was frightening because you'd actually get burns from it. Like in Russia, when the Olympians were training back in the, I don't know, 60s or whenever it was, when they were starting to use this stuff, they were the preeminent people to use DC current. And, you know, they're in Russia, so unfortunately those athletes had to endure whatever pain
whatever worked,
and they would get burns and all kinds of stuff, but it worked. This technology, what Garrett's done is overlap this other waveform of electrical current, and I won't go into the details of that.
Right.
But it basically prevents burns from happening. There's no damage to your tissues, and it allows your body to use that current to decrease that. We talked about the inhibition coming from the brain, and increase the strength of your muscles.
What does it feel like when you're doing it?
It feels like kind of a wave of undulating stimulation. You have to feel it to know exactly what it is.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't sting.
It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable, but it's not painful. I would call it more of a discomfort or a kind of a uncomfortable feeling. Yeah. But it really you'll feel a lot during the treatment, but then after the treatment, you feel this kind of like
It's
relief.
the new wave.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about it, and they're, as I said, they're doing big research on it here at UCI.
Yeah, that's cool. I'd love to hear more about that too. So basically, one of the great things about the NEUBIE is you do this diagnostic scan. And so we're going to put one electrode on you, and then we're going to have this sounds bad, but you have a wet sponge on one of the other electrodes. So,
Got to create a current.
You do. And these communicate with each other. If you have one electrode on you and the other one's not on you, you can't feel the current because it needs to create the pathway through your body.
Right.
So with this one, you use this sponge with the electrode to map the areas. Say you have a low back issue, you're going to map that whole low back issue out into the hips and find 2 hot spots within those areas, apply electrodes to those areas, and have people go through different movement patterns, and you're trying to ramp up that intensity over time throughout the treatment time so that you increase that person's ability to move through that current. And what that does is actually reduces the pain, and then it also improves your ability to move in general, and increases the strength over time. And it's not that you're, I'll talk about this a little bit, but it's not that you're actually increasing muscle mass or size with this.
Right.
This is your preventing that inhibition that's there. You're restoring strength that you already have, but your body's not able to use because of your brain.
Isn't that mind-boggling? Your brain is holding you back.
Correct. Yeah, your nervous system is holding you back. Exactly. Yes. So there's two issues that can happen with this that you're going to treat someone for. One is too much tension. So your muscles are kind of like on and guarding and preventing you from moving. Usually it's that eccentric lengthening phase that it prevents you from moving. So that can make you slower. It can make you weaker. Just makes you not move as well as you normally would. And we all have these things going on in our body.
I feel like that's the way I live all day long. I'm tight. Yeah. It just feels tight.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So, and then there's too much tension, or there's not enough activation. So that's a sign that, there's an inhibition and the muscles aren't functioning up to their potential. And it's their current potential. It's not potential in 8 weeks after strengthening. It's right now. Within one session, we can get someone to feel stronger, move better, and have less pain.
Isn't that mind-boggling?
It's pretty cool. It's amazing. Yeah. So basically, you can retrain these movement patterns that we do, whatever. So basically, you can retrain these and really with it, you can usually get someone
body. It's either something's too tight and it won't loosen up and stretch, or there's something in your body, your nervous system, your brain that's not allowing it to extend,
to contract, or yeah. So it's the tension or kind of look at it as a weakness. Yeah. So let's say if you haven't used certain muscles, in months or years, and it's not that you're not moving at all, it's just that you're not using them to their potential because of these issues. The NEUBIE and the signals it sends to your nervous system through the muscles and through these electrodes is helping your brain to remember that it's safe to move, it's safe to contract, it's safe to use those muscles again. So it's preventing your body from having that kind of like fight or flight feeling about movement and about contracting the muscle.
Which doesn't, again, I'm just amazed, it doesn't have to do with strengthening or building muscle mass.
Right. Over time you can, but truly building muscle mass takes about 6 to 12 weeks. I mean, it's like 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
And so when you see someone go from, not being able to maybe do a sit to stand, doing a treatment, and then they're able to, we didn't strengthen their muscle or increase their muscle mass. We just turned off that inhibitory signal from the brain that was preventing them from moving. And they've had testimonial, or a lot of patients that have gone through using the NEUBIE in various clinics across the nation that have maybe stroke or something like that. And years later, they come back and they have issues moving, and then they use the NEUBIE, and within a few sessions, they just make leaps and bounds of improvements because of that underlying ability they have that needs to be released and allowed to function.
Because that's, as we get older, we all hunch over, we all shuffle more.
Definitely, yeah.
We don't seem to have the full range of motion anymore.
Correct.
And we just assume that's because it's atrophying.
Right.
We're losing.
And it is. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not happening.
Right.
But there is some underlying function in there that we can immediately turn on, and then over time, once you feel you can move better, then it's easier to do those strengthening exercises that are going to be the long-term, improvements in strength and function and, muscle mass and bone density, all that stuff. So, so let's go into, I'm just going to give you a few patient examples.
Please, yeah.
So these are through NEUBIE has provided these examples. These aren't patients that I saw specifically, but
how long have you been doing this for, though?
About, I I think it's about 5 or 6 months now. Yeah.
Okay.
And we were ramping up training and doing all that stuff. And so now we're using it with a lot of patients.
Right.
But in the beginning, we had a time period of just training and learning to use it.
So these would
learning to
be
use it
examples, not from your practice, but similar to what you're seeing in
Yes.
your...
Yeah. So there was one patient, 48-year-old, former athlete, chronic shoulder pain for 2 years, struggled with overhead movement, avoided workouts, had pain while sleeping. I think she had tried physical therapy, injections, massage, and got temporary but no real long-term benefit. So then the NEUBIE was introduced, and it's basically like you're trying to reduce that protection mode that the patient has, right? So when you're using this. So by pairing the movement with gentle stimulation, we help retrain her brain and body to move safely again. Her pain dropped from a 6 out of 10 to a 1 to 2 out of 10 within 3 weeks.
Wow.
Restored confidence in movement, returned to overhead lifting without hesitation for the first time in years. And in the quote of the patient, it's the first time I've lifted overhead without hesitation in years. So
wow.
she went through that within a few sessions. She was able to get that kind of change.
Because that's what your body does when you explained this before. Your body builds a protective... Once you've injured yourself, sounds like this person injured themselves doing
Correct.
something.
Yes.
Now the muscles do what? They tighten up, or they try and restrict...
Yeah, well, our nervous system, our brain and our, and the entire nervous system induces an inhibition of contractile tissues. In other words, the muscles aren't going to function as well.
Right.
And then it also increases the resting pain state in your brain. The perception of the signals coming from that area of your body are heightened. So you've got a state in which you're kind of hypersensitive to various things.
And it does this so the body can heal. But after it heals, or if it doesn't heal properly, this state remains. Your muscles still are, and you're now contorting yourself, or you're not fully functioning.
Correct.
Somehow.
Yeah. It could be postural, could be all kinds of things. Exactly.
Right.
Yep. So there's one more here. This is a knee recovery after ACL surgery. So that's the anterior cruciate ligament. It kind of helps stabilize the knee.
Yeah. How many people do that, tear their ACLs?
Oh man, soccer, big time. Yeah. And females in soccer, really big time. So these are patients that can have long lasting effects, and some of them, can't play soccer after because of the effect that it has on their body in terms of that loss in movement, loss in strength, and all that kind of stuff. So the NEUBIE is really effective for the recovery after those kinds of things. So this patient, he tried standard rehab, did muscle stimulation, your kind of generic neuromuscular reeducation stimulation. Then after that didn't work, he finally tried the NEUBIE to stimulate his quad. And so after that, quad activation returned in the first 2 sessions. In other words, she was able to contract her quad
fast.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. This is actually a female. Yeah. So the quad was able to return in 2 sessions. She could do straight leg raises, which is a test for how strong your quad is. And if you can't do it without letting your knee bend, then it shows that you've got a significant weakness there. So she's able to do it with a straight leg and walk without a limp by week 2. She met all her rehab milestones by week 5 post-op, which is kind of unheard of.
Kind of. Because ACLs, I hear, you see people out, a football player or something, a soccer player, it's a year.
Yeah. Typically, about 5 months or so is typical for return, maybe 6 months to return to sport. And that's if you're getting the best care and everything.
And it never quite functions away. What? Because it's shortened or tightened or just again. There's
some of it is that So if the surgery went well and everything's how it should be, the ACL was repaired correctly and everything, and you assume all that's good, then any inhibition the person has is likely neuromuscular. So this nerve inhibition from the brain and nervous system going into the area.
Don't move it. Your brain's saying.
Yeah, exactly. So by using that, you're going to cut out a lot of that inhibition that was happening and improve
the function. How is this
function.
different? You mentioned neuromuscular retraining. How do you can't take your your neuromuscular to school, but you do what? You generally
There's certain
gently-
movement patterns and exercises that are neuromuscular reeducation. So we're trying to reeducate the nervous system to move. There's certain patterns of movement you can move in, which is proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation.
something I was
That
just
is
talking about the other day.
PNF. Yeah. So those are movement patterns that help to restore certain movement patterns. So we call that neuromuscular reeducation. And then there's certain types of movement like plyometrics and stuff like that to help to reeducate our nervous system as well, to move quickly and develop power and stuff like that. And the NEUBIE is just another tool we can use on top of those things to help to restore these, like I call it, inhibition from the brain.
Teach the muscle to move again.
Exactly. Yeah. Restore the strength and function that it actually has and just uncover it.
Unleash it.
Exactly. So as far, the big takeaway here is that the NEUBIE isn't just about muscles or movement. It's about teaching your body it's safe to heal again.
Yeah. That's really it. Allowing it to heal again.
Yeah. And it's a safe, natural thing. You don't have an injection or surgery with side effects. You can do this for people, not just athletes. This is definitely something we use on older people with stroke or MS, Parkinson's, all kinds of issues. And kids can potentially do it too. There's no, contraindications there. You just can't do it if you have a pacemaker, active cancer, things like that that are, that are contraindicated. If people are interested in, hearing or reading more about this, you can go on to neu.fit.com. That's the NeuFit website, and you can find out information if you're interested in that. Our clinic obviously has one, so if you're interested in talking to someone about it, or what it can potentially do for them, or if they're maybe a candidate for it, we're happy to talk to them about that too.
How did you find it? I know you're a doctor, so you're
Right.
always doing research, and you have to do so many continuing education units or whatever you have to do. How did you find this, and what made you open to explore it?
So it's twofold. One of those things was through Fyzical. So Physical Therapy and Balance Centers has some events that they put on, and NEUBIE is one of our preferred partners.
Okay.
So in rehabilitation,
Because you're part of a nationwide network of
it's
centers.
so it's a franchise, and so I have one franchise, and we're all independently owned and operated, but we have the backing and the business know-how and the kind of intellectual know-how,
the research support.
which is great. And the other way was I have a friend who is a PT for the Dodgers, and the Dodgers, and the Dodgers have been using this for years. And he talked to me a couple times about it and just said it's one of the best rehab tools he's used.
I hear that more often. Talk about that for a second. In the world of pro athletes, a rarefied world none of us ever get to see, professional football, baseball players and stuff. They're using stuff that the general public has no idea of, because they've got to get these people back out on the field. Millions of dollars in contracts, billions of dollars in team value, and all this stuff here. They go. It's more than just my father's physical therapy, gently moving and restoring balance and stuff here. Why is some of that stuff making it down to the general public now?
I mean, they're using a lot of the same stuff. I have a lot of technology in my clinic. We have we have shockwave therapy, we have radio wave therapy, we have laser, and we have the NEUBIE.
You do red light therapy?
So we do red light more for home. In other words, we have some packages that include getting a red light wrap that can help with healing. I believe in red light. I think it's a good thing to help with healing, over long term. It takes a lot of sessions of it, and that's why doing it in the home is the best.
Right.
So I believe in those things. I think there's some good research coming out backing all these things now that are that they're legitimate, and they really do help to restore function.
Because somehow I feel like we've been shortchanged. We, the general public, don't have advantage of all this. Maybe it's because it's expensive, or maybe it's because it takes a lot of training or something to do.
Well, a lot of times, admittedly, these it's a cash-based service in our office. It's not crazy expensive. It's not too bad, but you can find out. You can call us, and we'll discuss that too. But it's an add-on to normal insurance stuff. So insurance does not cover it. So So we use it with our patients as you get access to using the NEUBIE with a small fee.
Right.
So, but we feel it helps so much. And the great thing about it that I really love is that you can use this device and do all the normal therapy that you normally would with a patient and just get more out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Dodgers.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah.
Like
And I agree with you. They usually do get, top end
They get
types of
preferential
technology.
care,
Yeah, exactly. And so, because their players don't need to pay per treatment, right? So they can use anything they want, which is great.
Anything they want, and they do. And there's a lot more out there that the general public doesn't know, would like to know about.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to know about, you have a lot of these things available through your clinics. How
Right.
would they find out more? Give us a phone number,
so
address, or something.
yeah, so Physical Therapy and Balance Centers in Lake Forest.
And
It's off
spell
Lake
it because
Forest.
it's a little different.
It's Fyzical, and so best way is probably to call and talk to our front desk, and we can get information for you. That's 949-716-1800. We have a website that's fyzical.com/lake-forest. And then, and if you wanted to email, we have a general email that you can email us, and that is lakeforest@fyzical.com. And we'll get back to you very quickly if you want any information, or you want information about maybe your insurance or something like that too. We can help you out.
Well, full disclosure, I've taken advantage of their services. It's amazing. It's incredible. Full range of patients that you see there, from old people obviously suffering from pain and problems to young people with athletes and injuries or whatever. And what excited me about it is this access to the latest technology and techniques. This is science. This is the cutting edge kind of stuff. If you really want to get the best possible, do it the pro athletes. Maybe you can't afford everything they've got, but take advantage of some of these ideas and techniques that are out there. I look forward to hearing more on this series about more of these things that you're doing here.
Thank you. All right.
All right. Thanks for joining us. I hope that helped simplify things today a bit here on our latest example of Health Simplified. Right here from Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation.